I hope everybody is talking about this woman right here being interviewed on the damage report. This woman, I gotta pull up another tab because I forgot her name, because I don't know. It's easy to forget her name. She supposedly wrote several books on how woke is bad. And this is what happened when this brilliant damage report reporter asked her simply, what does woke mean?
Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it.
Spent an entire chapter defining it. It's your book. Your book, but you don't know what it means. If you're wondering what Republicans mean by the term woke, just ask an expert. Right-wing author Bethany Mandel wrote a book claiming that woke culture is destroying America's youth. During the interview, she was asked to define woke. Here's how she responded. So, I mean, woke is, well, the idea, blah, author of a whole book about woke. And you want to know why she couldn't define the term woke? Because right-wingers cannot define the term woke without going off on a tirade of racist, sexist, misogynistic, thoroughly insulting, offensive terms, and a whole bunch of bullshit that means nothing and is absolutely untrue. Woke for right-wingers is it's a buzzword. It's an insult. It's yet another word that they have bastardized and turned it into an insult against everybody they don't like, everything good that stands against the evil that they are for. To them, it is just a bastardized term. It is just an insult they use. It's a springboard into a racist, sexist tirade of bullshit that they've made up in their own minds. When you are trying to be taken seriously, when you actually accept an interview and you consider this somewhat of an ambush question, you're not doing yourself any favors. I cannot believe, and actually I can believe it, these people are that stupid, they are that backwards. She probably expected to go onto this interview and just have her ass lathered all goddamn day, and not to be asked these very basic questions. If she wrote a book and then she admits in the interview that they spent an entire chapter defining it, and it's her book, she should have no problem answering the question. It threw her for a loop because either she does not know what the term means, somebody else wrote the book for her. This is sort of like a group endeavor to make some money, you know, going the Kyle Rittenhouse route of doing whatever they can do to grift money off of the backs of stupid people on the right who will support them so long as they use the right buzzwords and claim to be playing for the right team. Or it could be just that simple when the term woke is brought up around any right-wing group. It's just some word they bastardized, tried to turn on its head, turn it into an insult, and she cannot properly define it without going into a racist, sexist tirade. She doesn't know the term as anything else. She can't even define it in a way that properly, legitimately would support her own side. These people always love to talk about, it's not wrong, it's just different. It's not racist, it's not bad, it's just an opinion. It's just a separate opinion. You know, it's just different than yours. You know, you're supposed to have respect for people who think differently from you. Okay, well, define the term woke and tell us why it's bad. Surely you've done some research into this if you've written a book about it. Surely you can back up your claims for why woke is bad. You can easily define it and then, you know, give the bullet points one after another. What is it? Why is it bad? You wrote the book. This is what your whole goddamn book was about. So tell us. We are open to your explanation. We invited you on the show. We are giving you your opportunity to speak. So tell us, enlighten us. And she can't do it. Of course, anybody with half a brain understands that woke is itself empathy. Woke is the understanding that there are systemic problems relating to everything when it comes to race, when it comes to gender identity, when it comes to education, when it comes to business, when it comes to employment. It causes a ripple effect through our nation, through our society. It's been going on since history, since this country was founded. There have been systemic race issues. There have been systemic gender issues. There have been systemic ageist issues, all kinds of issues that pull people away from being free, from having equal opportunity, from having the same rights and privileges as those in charge. You have to understand that these things have existed since the beginning. You have to understand that these things exist now. You have to understand how it's permeated every facet of life in this country, how it continues to affect people every day in this country. You have to understand history. You have to understand where other people are coming from. You have to be open to different people's experiences, the Black experience, the LGBTQ experience, women's experience. Women of different races have their own experiences. Poor people have their own experience, which is very different than a rich person's experience. And it's all belonging to all the different people that make up this nation that is supposed to be built on a melting pot of different cultures, of different races, different creeds, different ethnic backgrounds, national backgrounds. They all make up this country, and not a single demographic, not a single group of people in particular should ever be silenced. All of their voices need to be heard. That's the basis of wokeness. Understanding that there are problems, understanding other people exist, and that everybody's story is an important story, when it comes to what makes up this nation as a whole. And I don't know. And this woman cannot define it. Like I said, either she didn't write her own book, or she really does not know, and forget about the fact that she couldn't even prepare herself for this interview. And it's the damage report. It's like a heavy left-wing outlet. And she's a right-wing author that wants to bash on wokeness. She could not prepare herself for this interview. Or, you know, what's more than likely is she has never been asked to properly define it. She has only ever had to define woke as fill in the plethora of racist bullshit terms and whatever else that people on the right want to hear that has nothing to do with woke. The self-awareness that she fucked up is the best part. She's realized all she's ever done is spout things other people told her to say. Now that she has to do it for herself, she has no idea what she's saying. She then answers woke is hard to define, and she spent an entire chapter of her book defining it. Well, you wrote an entire chapter in the book. How is it you can't say a single word about it? She can't say a single word about it because it's all made up bullshit that the right wants to hear that has nothing to do with woke. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. She probably had it ghost written, of course. Problem is, they don't want woke to have a definition. It's like CRT. If you're stuck with a definition, you have to defend an argument about the definition. Since woke, in its simplest terms, is being conscious of racism and inequality in the world, it's hard to argue against. There are tons of studies showing that racism will exist in just about every aspect of life. Are you woke about the criminal justice system? How do you argue against that, since just about every single study ever done has found significant racial disparities in that area? Are you woke about housing, education, employment, community investment? With CRT, they try to do the same thing. They do not want to define woke because they only use it as a racist dog-whistling cudgel. And like all dog whistles, it must stay vague because the second you lock it down, it reveals the real intentions. You see, that's probably why she's kicking herself in the ass right now, is because she knows if she were to define what it really means, give the proper definition, she looks like a bad guy because she is a bad guy. But no, she could have at least, like I said, yeah, they use it as the racist, or they use it as a right-wing dog whistle. If you want to use that term, yeah. But she could have at least been prepared and come into this interview with a false definition. You know, taking a cue from good old Trump. Make something up and say it with absolute confidence so that you can at least look like a good guy. You know, come on there and say something like, woke is an idea pushed by evil leftists that is meant for us to abandon God and church, and it's meant to steer our country in a whole different direction that we've never seen before in history. And it's meant to teach that certain people, like white people, are inherently bad and evil. And it's sowing discord and divisiveness. She could have said any of that. She could have said any of that, even if she was at least smart enough to know she was lying, you know, to make herself look legit, to try to garner some validation for herself and this book. At least try to sell some copies of this book. Good chance she's just a spokesperson and didn't actually write the book. I wouldn't put it past far writers to use a male ghostwriter and a female spokesperson. Well, then her name wouldn't be on the book as the author. They'd be taking a really big chance with something like that. And that's also giving them too much credit. I'll guarantee she wrote the book and she really is this fucking dumb. Okay, all these right-wing pundits have written books. Ann Coulter has like a dozen fucking books. They're all just a big word salad clusterfuck of nonsense. Whatever bullshit comes to this woman's consciousness, she's puking it out with no filter. And she puts it in between a binding and sells it like every fucking year. Yeah, she's afraid to define it because she knows the actual definition is about awareness, that there are all kinds of economic inequalities inherent in the American system, and there should be a desire to fix those. Alternatively, in my personal bet, she knows exactly what it means, but realize there is no way to define it out loud that won't make her look bad for opposing it. Normally, I'd give her a pass on this. There's no doubt I occasionally parrot some political theory or whatever that I totally don't understand. But she wrote a book about it, allegedly. How did she not have an answer for this? Funniest part is that while she couldn't answer it, the other host, and this was from a clip off of Rising on the Hill, was asked to define it. Since the writer had said it's hard to boil it down, and she spent the whole chapter defining it, so this host off of the Hill went on to give a very short and decent response to what is woke. The hilarity of it all was so good. That's called a cash grab. Not really. Woke is the term people dedicated to the attack on traditional American values of hard work, family, and God, and use it to define themselves. I'm not even right-wing, and I can do this shit in one sentence. Of course this is going to go viral. And the interviewer was absolutely not grilling her. It was a simple, succinct softball question to define woke. Yeah, she put a lot of buzzwords on pages so that her friends at Right Wing PAC can buy a ton of copies. At the end of the day, nobody cares about her books. Saying it means not bigot or fascist on national TV is not a good look, and she knew it. Reminds me of when Jordan Klepper went down to a school meeting where they were protesting CRT. He was asking first thing, what is CRT, and nobody knew. Idiots with no information are fed lies and then just regurgitate it to everyone they know. Sometimes they will define it by giving you the proper answer and then trying to say that it's bad. I think Klepper, I don't know if it was Klepper or not. I got to find the video where this guy went to yet another right-wing, useless protest rally. Very easy to identify these people by all the red they're wearing. You know, the ironic thing is red was always the color for communists. So fucked up how that worked. And he asked some woman what she thinks of the library getting rid of Rosa Parks books or something. She actually described a situation in which black people need more representation in children's educational textbooks. She defined the exact thing that she was protesting against. Even when you get an elaborate answer from these people, it completely contradicts the reason they're there being interviewed in the first place. It's like that saying, ask a capitalism, or ask a capitalist. No, how does it go? Ask a socialist to define socialism, and they will give you a list of good and true reasons that it's good. And ask a capitalist to define socialism, he will describe capitalism. Ask a capitalist to describe socialism that he thinks is bad, he will describe capitalism. Fucking Dante. Okay? She can't bring herself to say the quiet part out loud. Woke is a euphemism to them for anything non-white conservative. It's just that folks won't say it out loud. She knows goddamn well what woke means. As sharp as a koosh ball. Koosh balls are gross. Is there a video of this? Yup, and the host actually says, we'll give you time. Take your time. And she wouldn't do it.
Of Americans consider themselves very liberal, and probably fewer of them consider themselves to be woke. And so, you know, when we talk about traditional right,
would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Oh, it was the Hill. The damage report was playing part of this interview, which was from the Hill. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. Sorry, it's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
Yeah, look, it's time.
Well, she was right. It did go viral. Take your time, LOL. Zero surprise there. Ask her what critical race theory is next. And this is pathetic because this is what a lot of these people do. They're supposed to be really good at completely ignoring facts and common sense, making up their own alternative facts for different issues, making up their own alternate definitions for certain things, and then running with those, and then trying to grift off of feeding this nonsense into as many mindless followers' brains as they can put in there. And it's just, I don't know, happenstance that they find somebody who probably does deep down have somewhat of a conscience and doesn't have the IQ of a grape nut and does indeed know exactly what the correct definition of the term woke is, but cannot say it without either alienating her base or getting it completely wrong to make her side happy, knowing that it's the wrong definition. And that she'll be grilled even worse on that. Or worse, just told outright wrong. That's not what woke means. And then being reprimanded on live television. And that probably wouldn't have even happened. They probably would not have cut her off and said wrong. She could have made up whatever bullshit definition she wanted to. You know, learning from good old Trumpy. Say the bullshit, say it with absolute conviction, absolute confidence, like you're absolutely correct, and nobody can hurt you. She's not going to do that because she does know right from wrong. She does know a lie from the truth. Watch, you're never going to hear from this woman again. She will be considered an absolute failure to them. You'll probably see her, like, in some accident. Or, you know, at the very least, she'll be completely unemployed. At worst, she'll have died accidentally in some car crash or some shit. Like what the Russians do when you're completely useless to them or make them look as stupid as they are, they just get rid of you. And I wouldn't be surprised if any of these things happen to her, because at this point, with this viral vid, she is now completely useless to the right. And we know these people are very anti-woke. They don't have empathy. They don't have sympathy. They don't have anything but contempt for people that are not seen as useful to them in some way. No compassion, no common sense, not really bright. She's finished. In one way or another, she's finished. Okay, that's pretty much all I wanted to say at this point. I'm coming back for another gaming session very soon. Or maybe I'll be back just to screw around in a little bit. But I just wanted to get that part out there. I didn't say anybody had respect for this woman. She definitely doesn't have any now. The right don't really have much tolerance for people they don't see as useful to their base or to society as a whole. So, any respect this woman would have had is gone now. What's wrong with what? I don't get what you're trying to say. What's wrong with a party that does not have any respect for people that are not useful to them? That only finds value in people that are of use to them? You're asking me that question? I've been talking for half an hour and you can't follow? Okay. Uh-oh. There's a woman from Poland who writes me each day. She says if I am Morpheus, then she is the Oracle. She assures me in no uncertain terms that without me, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Maybe he means Orpheus. Haha! I got an angry right-winger on my stream. Plushiacs. I should have known. Yeah, speaking of not contributing, you've been here and you haven't contributed anything to me, so why would I respect you? Bye-bye. See how that works? All right. I'll be back in a little bit, folks. I just wanted to get that out there real quick. So, I'll be back in a little bit. I want to start my next game. If I can't do some gaming, then I'll probably be back to just scroll around some more, screw around. So, I'll see ya.